conversations. So I'm Bob and I'm hosting today. I'm stepping in for my colleague Louise to host this. We'll be recording the presentation and make sure that that recording is available to you all and emailed out to you all after the session. There's an interactive section which we won't record, and then we'll hit record again when it comes to the discussion and feedback after the activity. So today we've got two guests from the University of Sunderland. We have Cheryl Francis, and she is the librarian for the School of Medicine and Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences at the University of Sunderland. And Cheryl has more than 25 years of experience in libraries and information services, working in various sectors, including public libraries, NHS charitable organisations and higher education. She's a chartered member of CILIP and actively contributes as part of the Health Libraries Group Committee, CILIP SIG. In addition to earning Fellowship of the Higher Education Academy in 2013, she joined Federation for Informatics Professionals in Health and Social Care as an advanced practitioner in 2024. Cheryl is part of the RLUK-ARMA Research Catalyst Cohort for 2025-26. And Elaine is the librarian for the School of Nursing and Health Sciences at the University of Sunderland, and she's been in this role since 2018 and previously worked in a variety of roles in the library at Northumbria University. And they're here today to talk to you about press. So enough from me, I will pass you on to the experts.
Hello, thanks, Bob. So my name is Cheryl. Just a caveat, I'm not part of the Health Libraries Group anymore, committee. So just to say that before we start. And my colleague?
Yeah, so I'm Elaine.
And so today we're going to do a short talk first, and then we're going to follow that by a workshop on what we've called the power of press. So this session really is about the benefits of peer review of search strategies in systematic reviews, just in general, as well as the specific press tool. So PRESS stands for Peer Review of Electronic Search Strategies. And a small caveat at the beginning of this session. So we are librarians, we're liaison librarians. So we're not actually specialists in systematic reviews or peer review. So this session, rather actually than an expert view, we aim to sort of introduce press. And this session is really based on our experiences of using the press tool, the reflections on that process from the perspectives of the search creator, which was myself and one of the researchers, Jack, and the search reviewer, which was Elaine. So that's kind of like the context for this session. So first off, what we'd like to do is ask you a question. Elaine's going to post a Menti link in the chat. So if you could just go to the chat, click on that link and then answer the question there. So the question is, what is your experience of press? So I can see people are still responding, so we'll just give it another few seconds. Okay, well, it looks like the majority of you have heard of it, and quite a few of you have used it as well. But there are a significant number of you that haven't heard of it. So we just wanted to see at the beginning of this session what you already knew about the tool and how many of you had used it. So now it's over to Elaine.
You just on mute, Elaine.
Thank you. So, rookie error there. For those of you that it is new to, as Cheryl's already said, it stands for Peer Review of Electronic Search Strategies. And this is specifically referring to a guideline statement that was produced in 2015, so quite a long time ago now, but still being used, and was published in 2016 in the Journal of Clinical Epidemiology. So what this provides is a structured checklist that takes the reviewer through key elements of a search strategy and provides a form to complete to give feedback on search errors, gaps, or problems. And the aim being to strengthen the search and give a more robust search. The article that we've referred to here does claim that PRESS can improve the quality and comprehensiveness of the search and reduce search errors. So it is recommended in all of those key places that I know many of you will have heard of, such as Cochrane and Prisma and by NICE as well. And looking at our experience of it is best completed by the librarian and information specialist, and really is recommended as a tool for information specialists to be reviewing each other's search strategies. So this session is giving an opportunity to try PRESS out. But first, we're just going to talk a little bit about the experiences that we had with it. And for me, that actually came from completing a PRESS when one of my academic staff who was supervising their PhD student asked me to peer review the search strategy that they'd put together using the PRESS form. So full disclosure at this point, I'd never heard of it, so I Googled it. It wasn't that I'd done plenty of training on systematic searching. I'd looked at that, but I'd never actually come across the checklist for whatever reason. So didn't want to have to admit a lack of awareness, so I looked it up first. And I was pleased when I looked at it to realise it's absolutely the type of thing I've had the skills to do, and it's the perfect activity for me. Not so secretly a pedant as well, but actually it was more about that kind of being able to look at it in much more detail than we often would. It was quite interesting to be asked to peer review a search rather than being asked for advice on constructing the search that already had that together. However, it did give me opportunity to then start those conversations and have a lot more input. And they were obviously very experienced and doing quite well, but actually it became more than just a box ticking request that it initially seemed, that they wanted to kind of document that peer review had taken place. And it actually became a much more involved process of supporting them with developing and translating their search. So since then, usually via the same academic, there's been more requests to do this, and they all do present that opportunity. So it has been a tool where I've been working with researchers and academics rather than reviewing for the librarians at that point. It always provides that opportunity to provide much richer support with developing their searches and supporting them to navigate databases and translate their searches across. However, seeing this and seeing peer review and specifically PRESS discussed at some CPD events, including systematic review conversations, highlighted the value of librarians peer reviewing another librarian search strategy. So I was chatting to Cheryl about that because she was doing a lot of work as part of research teams creating searches, and she's going to tell you about her experience now. And now you're on mute.
Brilliant. Okay, so in 2024, I was part of a research team undertaking a systematic review, and my part in that was firstly to advise and then lead on the search. So the review was submitted to a well-respected peer-reviewed journal, and then when the peer review came back on the whole article, there was some extremely harsh feedback on my search from one of the reviewers. And it was my first ever submission to a journal. And as you can imagine, on reading that feedback, I was mortified and I felt sick. Because if the search was the reason that the paper wasn't published, that would be down to me. And so I did muster the courage to look at the search again. With Elaine standing behind me, we share an office, and she was literally standing behind me for moral support. And phew, it turned out that the reviewer wasn't correct in what they'd said about my search. So I was able to reply and clarify. So the search passed the peer review process and the article was published. So hooray. But during this time, a little bit later really, Elaine was talking to me, as she said, about using this press tool to review searches for her academics. So the next time I was working on a search as part of a systematic review team, I suggested that we ask Elaine to press that search. Really, my experience of that peer review journal was what made me think that it would be best to have that kind of quality check. And when we asked Elaine to press it, I was expecting, of course, to get some notes back to make suggested or required adjustments. But what I wasn't expecting was how valuable the press review was for myself and the researcher Jack. So I was working with a researcher called Jack Holcomb at the university. And what we realised is that in focusing on developing this kind of best search strategy, we'd actually gone down a bit of a rabbit hole. So from the suggestions that Elaine had made in a conversation that we had with her about her observations and findings, Jack and I started our own conversations reflecting on our decision-making process for the search, and we both genuinely enjoyed the different perspective that Elaine had brought to the search. We made the required revisions and then we were able to make clear, informed decisions on the suggested revisions. So it's really this experience of being pressed. It gave me a really different, or gave me and Jack a really different view of the value of press. Previous to this, I'd only really seen it as a corrective tool, and I hadn't appreciated the depth of value of someone who knows about searching, reviewing your search, even if you yourself are an experienced searcher. And that is the reason we're here today, is to invite you to look again at peer review as a supportive and reflective tool. So I'm going to hand you back to Elaine now.
Yeah, so that's why we have decided to take the approach of doing a workshop and give you the opportunity to try press out. This is the full checklist that is documented in press. Again, for those of you who have not seen it, those who are more familiar and have used it will be aware of all of these prompts and the different areas that press kind of goes through to look at with a search strategy. Don't worry, we're not going to be asking you to take all of those aspects from the checklist in a short session today, but this just to show kind of all of the areas that we would cover. So it really does go into the detail of everything you would hope to pick up on. But sometimes when we're so used to doing it, or we get focused in an area like Cheryl was saying, it's good to have all of this explored and really pulled out in those areas. And to be honest, I find it really useful way to continue to learn my skills as well by looking at other people's searches.